Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 16.
17.
Welcome to episode 17 of Real Talk About Feminism. My name's Haley.
My name's Mackenzie. We're a little discombobulated because I messed up what topic we were doing today. Like, we
Yeah.
planned out a couple months in advance. And when we were talking about the planning for this episode, I was like, all right, I researched everything. Like, I'm all ready for tomorrow night. And Haley was like, that's not the topic we're doing. That's next week. So
You made me
we
sound
changed
bratty.
it.
No.
No, you were nice.
We're also a little discombobulated because I feel like we just recorded. So, a little behind the scenes, we normally record on Saturdays. And then we edit everything on Saturdays so that we can post on Sunday because weekends are like, we're busy during the week.
Yeah.
But this week I'm going to Cali. We're leaving Thursday morning. And so we didn't want to skip a week and we wanted to keep everything consistent. So we are recording now. What's today? Tuesday?
Tuesday night.
Yeah, Tuesday night. It's like 8 o'clock here in the night. And so it's a little bit weird because we normally record like midday on a Saturday. So we're just a little bit Yeah. I can't even speak. We're a little bit confused. So speaking of mixing things up a little bit, we are not going to be doing a feminist highlight for this episode, but don't get upset because this entire episode is a feminist highlight.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. So
But it's exciting.
yes, it's really exciting. So, should we just dive right into the bulk of what we have for today?
Yeah. Every time you say that, all I can think about is that is your baby. You love saying, let's dive right into the feminist highlight. Let's dive into the bulk of the episode.
I just love saying dive in. It makes me feel like a professional.
It's a good transition.
Okay, so let's dive in. So today we are going to be talking about okay, so we were going to talk about women in healthcare. And as you guys know, we've posted a little bit on Instagram about this, but for any of our new listeners, me and Ken's are both in healthcare. I'm not currently using my certificates, but
up until a couple weeks ago.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm an EMT and a phlebotomist.
I'm a CNA, which is a certified nurse aide, and I'm certified as a phlebotomist, but I've never used my certification yet.
Yeah, so CNA and phlebotomist and EMT and phlebotomist. So we're pretty much a power couple. No, just kidding. But so we do work in healthcare. And so we wanted to do an episode about like women in healthcare because even though like especially in nursing, like nursing is a dominated female field, but there's still a lot of like disrespect towards nurses in the field. And I would say even like so EMTs, that's male dominated, but I think phlebotomy is female dominated.
I agree.
And I would say CNA
definitely.
Yeah. But we've both had experiences where we've been disrespected strictly because of our gender. So just because it's a female dominated career doesn't mean that there's not like gender like prejudice.
Yeah.
So we wanted to talk about that, but we don't want to do a lifestyle episode.
Right. And like the thing with this topic is there are so many avenues we could explore with this. Like we could literally talk about just stories from our careers. We could talk about like women in STEM and healthcare together. We could talk about what we're doing today, which is like kind of like the prejudice and disrespect towards we'll probably focus on nursing because like that's such a female dominated career in healthcare, but just in general, like women in healthcare.
Yeah, so those are all things that like we totally could focus on and we could spend a lot of time on. But the woman that we're choosing to highlight today she's actually an immunologist. So she's a researcher and a scientist. And her name sorry.
You've been practicing.
Her name is Kizzmekia Corbett. So I'm going to refer to her as Dr. Corbett because she is a doctor. But her full name is Kizzmekia Corbett. So like I said, she is an American viral immunologist, and I came across her from my dad actually because I would say our dad, he's raised all daughters, and so he
Hmm.
really encourages us, like, to do what we want, even like no matter our gender.
Yep.
And he's very motivating to us to follow our dreams, and
He is.
he is, and he'll send us articles like that he's found on LinkedIn. I think they're all
Girl,
always
I
on
was gonna
LinkedIn.
say that.
Yeah, he'll send us like articles, and he'll be like, look at what this amazing woman did. Like, you guys can do whatever you put your mind to.
Hmm.
And so I think he sent me an article about Kizzmekia. And so this is how I found out about her. I'm pretty sure it was through my dad, or maybe he didn't send me an article, but he did tell me about her. So she was one of the lead scientists working on the Moderna COVID vaccine,
Wow.
which is a huge deal because that's a really big vaccine that a lot of people have been getting recently. I got Moderna. I didn't get Pfizer, but I
I
did
got
get
Moderna
Moderna.
too.
I didn't know you got Moderna. Thought you got
You
Pfizer.
always say that. No, I got Moderna.
Well, so we both got Moderna.
Mhm.
So we're supporting you, Kizzmekia. But
If you're listening at all.
um, but that's how I found out about her. So we wanted to just focus on her because she's really amazing and super smart. So Dr. Corbett, she was born January 26th of 1986. So she's not even that old. She's in her 30s.
Mm-mm.
And she's helped develop this vaccine. So super successful, super smart. Um, so during high school, Dr. Corbett, she was part of a program called Project Seed. Um, and this program, basically, she was able to spend her summer breaks as an intern at research labs. So I don't know many high schoolers who would want to spend all summer in a lab researching things. I definitely wouldn't have
Nope.
wanted to.
Mm-mm. I didn't even want to during chemistry, like for one class.
Right. But that's pretty amazing. And that's really cool that they have programs like that that allow high schoolers to work in a
Hmm.
research lab because that's really good experience.
I'd say.
Yeah, definitely a really good point for the resume. So, she did that in high school over the summer with Project Seed. Um, and then she graduated from Hillsborough High School in 2004. Class of '04, pretty cool. And then in 2000 in 2005, so right after she graduated, she was a summer intern at SUNY Stony Brook Labs, and she studied a pathogen called, forgive me if I butcher this, the science name is Yersinia pseudotuberculosis. And for all of us who have no idea what that is, it's a bacteria that causes scarlet fever in humans. So she studied that her
Wow.
summer after graduating high school.
That is so cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Especially because that name sounds so official and scientific. Like,
Pseudo tuberculosis.
right. So she did that the summer after graduating high school. She studied the bacteria that causes scarlet fever, and so that was in 2005. Then from 2006 to 2007, Dr. Corbett, she worked as a lab tech at the University of Maryland School of Nursing while she was attending the University of Maryland, Baltimore County,
Mm.
UMBC. And she had a full scholarship while she was attending the University of Maryland at Baltimore County. So
Wow.
I don't think she was in the nursing school because she's an immunologist, but she was working in the lab at the nursing school while she was attending school.
Okay.
And she was on a scholarship, so obviously she was very smart.
Even just this short span of years, like right after she graduated, I can't even believe what she did. That's
Right.
so cool.
I know. Pretty cool. That she accomplished. Yeah, because this was 2007. 2006 to 2007. She graduated in 2004, and
That's
she's
like
already working.
3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, she's working in a lab, so that's awesome. But I mean, her summer breaks as an intern at research labs, they probably really wanted her at the college lab.
Hmm.
Yeah, so pretty cool. Um, so then from 2006 to 2009, so this overlaps with her time spent as a lab tech. Um, Wait, technically I was a lab tech. That was my job
You were a
position.
lab tech. Wasn't that your title?
Yeah, I was a lab technician.
So I wonder, as an immunologist,
Mhm.
I can't say that, if like what she did exactly.
Yeah,
Because you
cuz
were a lab tech, but you were using your phlebotomy license.
right, like I was doing medical stuff.
Hmm.
So I wonder if she was a lab tech but she was like,
Like
studying different stuff.
researching or
Yeah.
assisting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still really cool.
Still super cool. So 2006 to 2009, this interlaps her time working as a lab tech. Dr. Corbett worked as a biological sciences trainer at the National Institute of Health.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that's a very high up organization. And she worked alongside Dr. Barney Graham, and he is the deputy director of the VRC, which is a vaccine research center.
Okay, so pause. So 2009, how old would she have been? 1986.
I'm not good at mental math, so
So she would have been 14 plus 9. 23. I hope that's right.
okay. So
So
roughly around 23.
she was 23 and doing all this.
So yeah, at 23 years old, she was attending college. She was working as a lab tech at her school, and then she was also working as a trainer at the National Institute of Health alongside the deputy director of a vaccine research center.
Wow.
Wow, like honestly. And here at this vaccine research center with Dr. Graham, she studied um a virus that caused respiratory tract infections in infants and childhood, like through
Mhm.
infancy and childhood. Um so that's pretty cool. And like I know with like immunologists, they study something very specific, and a lot of times
Mhm.
they'll take that thing and they could study it for their whole life. So she was already like studying this kind of as like kind of specializing in it because she was working alongside the deputy director, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
So while she was at the National Institute of Health, she had an opportunity to start studying human antibody responses to the dengue fever virus in children in Sri Lanka in 2009. Um, so she was able to travel over there and also like still study here in the US.
Mhm.
And she studied antibody responses in kids with the dengue fever. And she actually became so interested in this that it became the subject of her dissertation in 2017 when she went back to school later in life. So, this was in 2009 when she was studying this. And then in 2017, she wrote her dissertation on it, and she was attending the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
Wow.
So
I
she
feel like
is,
literally all I'm saying through this episode is wow.
I mean, I don't really know what else to say because she's obviously like very educated, very smart,
Mhm.
and you can tell she just has a passion to learn and also to help people, because without immunologists and like people who want to study like the tiniest little things that can kill us,
Mhm.
we wouldn't have like vaccines and we wouldn't have cures to these diseases and everything. But they choose to study that, and they're so smart, and they're
You
able to
have to
come
be.
up with
You have to be
things.
so dedicated, like the amount of schooling, focus, cuz like in her case now, like there's literally people's lives in her hands. So like
Right.
you really really have to know your stuff.
Right. Like obviously very educated and has a passion for learning.
Mhm.
So, okay, I know this is a ton of information, but we're almost done. I'm kind of like word vomiting right
Yeah, and
now.
it's just no, you're doing great. Like it's just supposed to be like fun to learn about her career and like what led up to her literally being part of history and
Right.
creating this or helping
Right.
with the process of creating the vaccine. So, which we both had.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is the whole process of how she
Hmm.
got to where she is now. So, very true. Okay. So, um, next in her life, Dr. Corbett began her research at the National Institute of Health, working on the development for vaccines for SARS and MERS. So
Okay.
SARS is severe acute respiratory syndrome, and then MERS is Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome. And these are both two types of coronaviruses.
Oh.
So, a common misconception with the vaccine, a lot of people are afraid of getting it because, oh, 1 year isn't enough to create a vaccine. Well, this was at least 10 years ago, or it was probably around about 10 years ago. And they've been working on developing vaccines for coronaviruses for years. And so they already have like I don't know they already have samples of vaccines
Hmm.
for types of coronaviruses, and COVID-19 is a type of coronavirus. So it's not just like it came out of the blue.
Yeah, I always forget that because, like, when we hear COVID now, it's just like only COVID-19.
Right.
But, like, you have to wonder, like, if it's number 19, like, there's 18 other ones. So that's very interesting. I forget that a lot.
I didn't know that. That meant there was
Well,
18 other ones.
I mean, I hope so. But, like, if it's number 19, like, and if these are both two types of coronaviruses, like, I don't know. Please don't take any of what I'm saying as facts. But, like, it just makes sense. Like, there would be other ones. Maybe there's not 18,
Right.
but there definitely is. Like, there's
Yeah.
different types of flus and whatnot.
Yeah, there's like flu A, flu B. So
Yeah.
definitely, and that's something that I don't think they really talk about because I didn't really recognize this until a few weeks ago. Actually, it was before I was researching for this episode,
Mhm.
but I came across something and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. Like there's different types of coronaviruses, and that's why when we first started calling it coronavirus when it first broke out, then
Mhm.
news sources and like doctors and everything corrected it. Like it's a type of
Right,
coronavirus, but it's
right.
COVID-19. It's not the coronavirus because there's not just one.
Yeah, and on like Clorox wipes and like other disinfectant wipes that we get, it says kills coronaviruses, like not just coronavirus. So that's very
Interesting.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. So, I mean, everyday demonstration, if it's on Clorox wipes, like there's more than one.
Mhm.
And so, Dr. Corbett, she was on the team that was researching at the National Institute of Health these two types of coronaviruses, and she was developing vaccines. So, flash forward to the pandemic of 2020 when it started. We're still in it, but
Yeah.
um, she was on the team that was developing the vaccine for COVID-19, and her and some of the members of her team identified the quote spike protein in COVID-19. And they discovered this in December of 2019 when it first broke out in China, the virus. And so
Okay, let me correct something I said. Actually, I think COVID-19 is named because it broke out in 2019. You guys, please don't take what I'm saying as fact. Oh my gosh, I feel so stupid now. That makes a bit more sense than like, oh yeah, there's 18 other ones. Wouldn't you
I'm
say?
I'm wondering now,
Let's Google it.
why is COVID-19 called COVID-19? Um, on February 11th. Oh no.
Oh no. Do I look
Okay,
like an
so
idiot?
this is from the World Health Organization.
Okay.
On February 11th, 2020, the World Health Organization announced an official name for the disease that is causing the 2019 novel coronavirus outbreak, first identified in Wuhan, China. The new name of this disease is coronavirus 2019, abbreviated as COVID-19. So
I'm never living this down.
it's okay. So COVID-19 got its name because it is the coronavirus outbreak of 2019. That's when it started.
Which makes sense. Okay, so there are other types, but there's not 18. Okay.
That's okay. We're all learning. Now we know.
Yeah, now we know.
So, let's see. Okay, so flash forward to 2019. COVID-19 breaks out in China. So, Dr. Corbett and her team members started studying it to try and come up with a vaccine because it was already killing thousands of people in China. Mm-hmm. And they knew it was going to come over here and become a worldwide thing. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to get ahead of it. So they started researching it, and they identified the spike protein, quote, and this claw-shaped protein, it's the claw-shaped portion of the protein. It permeates healthy human skin and infects the person with the virus. So they discovered that that's how people get infected. Mm-hmm. With that shape of the protein, which is mind-blowing to me that
that they can figure that out.
Yeah, you figure out that the shape of the protein is what is infecting people.
Oh my gosh, I just think it's so cool. Like, I can't imagine how accomplished they felt and great when they saw all their hard work finally coming to fruition. Like, I can't imagine the hours, days, months spent in the lab.
Yeah, and when it first broke out, they had people, all medical professionals were working day in and day out, and there was a physician in China who died because he literally was working nonstop.
Oh my gosh.
To try and save people. So yeah, these people were working day in and day out to try and find something, and they found this little spike protein. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge accomplishment for their team.
And for us.
And for us, yeah, we have a vaccine now. So because of her work finding the spike protein with her team, Dr. Corbett was chosen to lead the team of scientists who partnered with the company called Moderna, and she led the team that developed the vaccine. And that's a huge accomplishment.
That is really cool.
Since she was the one leading the team, on March 3rd of 2020, Dr. Corbett was able to share her research at the National Institute of Health with, at the time, President Donald Trump. And he took a tour of the lab and everything, and she was able to explain how the vaccine works, how promising it is, all of the research that they've done. And after that, and since she's our feminist highlight, we'll post on the Instagram pictures of her, because there was actually a really cool picture of her with President Trump, at the time he was President Trump, and some of the other researchers in the lab. And that's just really cool, because she was with the United States president at the time, and her colleagues and people that she had led to come up with this vaccine that's saving lives. And it's just a really cool image, and it's really cool. So we'll post that on Instagram.
Definitely. I haven't seen that either, so I'm gonna have to Google that.
Yeah, we'll post it because it's really cool. So 3 days after this tour with Donald Trump, he signed a bill that authorized $8.3 billion as a response to coronavirus, and this included at least $3 billion for accelerated research on a vaccine and treatment. And so that is what got us the vaccine so easily available to us today, because now you can go anywhere and get a vaccine
for free. Yeah. Jared totally did. He walked into Sam's Club and they gave it to him right then and there.
Yeah. And that's amazing, because now I know that there's a lot of people who are against the vaccine, but I, for one, feel way more comfortable going out in public and traveling, doing all of that stuff. So you all know, in April, I took a trip to Portland, Oregon, and it was this whole trip. We talked about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. My friend I went with, She was not vaccinated and I was, and I felt super comfortable and she was scared the whole time. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely a really good thing.
it is. I lost my train of thought already. It is like with the Delta variant, I've started wearing a mask in the store again just because you never know.
Mhm.
And like with flu season that's going to come in a couple months, like that terrifies me too because even though I always get my flu vaccine, like you just never know. And like if I've learned anything from COVID, it's like people are so gross. Like
Yeah.
I'm such a clean freak now, but I feel so comfortable and like so much better knowing that like both like Jared and I are both vaccinated. So
Mhm.
like when he wasn't and I was, like I was so nervous to like not wear a mask. Like I still did because I could give him something, and even though we are vaccinated, we can still carry it and give it, you know, um pass it along. But I do feel so much more comfortable. Like I really trust science. So I got the vaccine as soon as I could. Like I didn't even give it a second thought.
Yeah. So did I. And I feel great. I got more sick than I've ever been right after, but now it's fine.
Yeah, you were pretty sick.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I don't get sick that often.
no, it was like a different kind of sick though.
It just felt like the body flu, but like I was
Mhm.
like down and out, and I had to take a
Mhm.
test for anatomy that Saturday, and I literally was just like, so, and
Like I can't.
it was a proctored exam too, so they like
Oh
record
my
your
gosh, that's
screen and they
awful.
record you and everything just so that you don't cheat. But I
Mhm.
like literally rolled out of bed to take it, and I had like my hood up and my hair was all messy, and I was like, nobody judge me.
Nobody judge me.
Yeah.
I didn't get that sick after. Like my arm literally like my whole bicep or tricep, like it was red. Like you could tell there was like a defining red circle. I should find a picture of it
Oh
because
my
it was
gosh.
bad. But like I was just super tired. I
Hmm.
I didn't get sick. It didn't take me out of work or anything.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. So
You're like, I don't know what to say.
I don't have a good transition for that.
No.
So I wanted to just read a quote from Dr. Corbett about why she did the vaccine before we move on to just a quick little back and forth, a few little personal stories from me and
A
Ken's.
little back and forth. I'm sorry. I don't know
A
why it's
little
so
banter.
funny.
Um, so Dr. Corbett, she was interviewed, and we'll put the link in the show notes so that you can read this. But she said, quote, "The reason that I started to work in coronavirus was not to ever develop a vaccine, but really to have such a strong understanding in vaccine immune responses that we could potentially develop one." End quote.
Wow.
So she didn't get into it knowing she was going to develop a vaccine, but she
No.
wanted to have that knowledge in case she needed to.
And she did.
And
That's
she
really
did.
cool. I didn't hear any of this. Like we didn't talk about this before we started recording, so it was all new to me too. But
Mhm.
when you first started, I was wondering how does she get to the point where she literally is the head of developing the vaccine for
Mhm.
Moderna? And I think it's really cool. Like when you said that she was working on other coronaviruses, it clicked.
Mhm.
Um, but like I bet that she didn't get into it like, oh yeah, I'm going to develop a vaccine one day. Like no one ever knows, but it's really cool that everything in her life led up to that exactly happening, and she obviously was meant to do that, and I just think it's really cool.
It is super cool. And obviously we're very thankful that she chose to use
Yes,
her
we are.
knowledge.
Yes, we are, and we got her vaccine. So I feel really cool.
Yeah, we did get her vaccine. So obviously, before we even knew that she was the one that developed it, we got Moderna because feminism is just in our blood.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, like
just
we just had an intuition.
we just support women, you know. So
Have a little bit of Dr. Corbett in us.
yeah, there we go. And
No,
that
that's
sounds weird.
it really does. In our shoddy arms. I'll clarify.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's
So,
move on.
uh,
So, when I think about any personal stories, there's a lot because, oh,
you have a
actually,
lot.
now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot. So there's a lot of I experienced a lot of sexism as an EMT, also as a phlebotomist, but not as much, but definitely like I literally had one day working as a phlebotomist that I drew on like three guys in a row, and not saying that all men are sexist because they're not. But there was a day that I drew on three guys in a row, and it was a very stressful day, and they were just trying to tell me how to do my job and were questioning me, and like everyone misses occasionally, but like that day I didn't miss on any of them, and I
Yes,
did
go
my
girl.
job. And it's just so annoying like when you have people constantly questioning you. And
Well, yeah, because like you start to second guess everything that you're doing. And it's like,
right,
is my form right? Am I doing the process right? Like, and you're like, if I mess up, then it's just gonna prove to them that I don't know what I'm doing. But like you
right.
actually do. It's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, it sucks. And so, one time that I'm specifically thinking of, I'll just share one story, was on the ambulance, and one of my partners, we worked together. We worked together quite a bit towards the end of my time on the ambulance, and I loved working with her. She was one of my favorite partners. And so honestly, we were just like a dynamic duo, and we were like a power team because she was a little bit taller than me. I'm 5'2", 5'2" and a half.
Mhm.
Um, and she was probably like 5'4", I think.
You
Um,
guys are both small.
yeah, we're both pretty small, and like when you have to lift the patient into the ambulance like on the stretcher, the way it happens is like the stretcher hooks, there's a hook in the back so that you can't just like pull them out. So you hook the
Mhm.
stretcher on the back, and sometimes you got to lift that up. So you're lifting that up, one person is lifting the stretcher up at the head if it's not tall enough, the stretcher. So you lift them up back there, hook them on, and then one person grabs the wheels and one person has the foot end, and they're grabbing the triggers and then pushing them in to the ambulance. So that's probably really confusing, but what I'm getting at is you have to be able to lift them into the ambulance, and you either have the wheels or you
Safely.
have the, yeah, safely.
Mhm.
And like stretcher safety is like a big thing, and it can get really dangerous because this person, like, you're holding them, and there was so many patients, and there was some there it was actually like, I would say there was more men who would make comments, and I served the geriatric population, so it was older men. But there was definitely some women who they would be like, "Oh, no, no, no," like, because we would work out of skilled nursing facilities, and we would take patients to the hospital from skilled nursing facilities. So there would be nurses inside or like CNAs or anything, and they'd be like, "Oh no, honey, like, go get one of the men to lift me up, please. Like, I don't trust you." And it's really annoying because you're like, "Okay, we're trying to get you to the hospital, and I obviously can do my job because I've been through physical
Right.
tests. Like, you can't get a job unless you've done the physical."
Yeah, as an EMT, you have to be
Yeah,
you have to
and
pass your
so
physical.
yeah, you do. And so it's annoying because it's like I've passed a physical test and I might not look that strong, but I've been doing this for a little bit and I'm not going to drop you. You know, and like obviously like
Mhm.
it's scary. You're in an emergency situation, you're going to the hospital, it's a lot. But that was like the biggest time, or like it was always so annoying to me when I would be with a male partner and you switch off on who's leading, and so, like, you're either in the back or you're driving and you switch off every call. So, like, it would be my turn to lead the call. And I would be very professional, doing my job, performing all the interventions I needed, just like my male partner would do. And they would be like, no, I want him in the back with me. And it's just like, or like they wouldn't trust me driving. Like, it's just like, there would always be a
Like you can
comment about
never
something.
win. Yeah, you can
Right.
never win.
Yeah, and that's just annoying. And like Ken said, it's hard because then you start questioning yourself. And like you can't let it get to you, but like sometimes like if you're like doing something and they're like, "Oh, no, like I don't think you can do it." Then you're like stressed, and it's like, "Okay, well am I doing it right even though you know you are?" Like it's just really frustrating and upsetting. And I don't miss that treatment at all.
No. Oh my gosh, no. Um it also like along with just being a woman, like at least for us, I know we've both been questioned for our age too. Like I've had so
Mhm.
many nurses in facilities be like, "How old are you?" And like I tell them my age and they're like, "Why are you doing this? Like are you even allowed to work there?" I'm like, "Yes, I know what I'm doing."
Yeah.
Like it's so annoying. Like I don't know, I would never say that to somebody.
Mhm.
If I saw that maybe like a transfer situation was getting unsafe and the person was obviously incompetent, like I would probably like call their company or their agency, but like I would never just question someone right off the bat.
Right. And like there's plenty of people in any field, but like since we're talking about healthcare specifically, there's plenty of people who might have 20 years of experience but are just not good at their job because they don't have
Right?
a passion for patient care or they don't have a passion for what they're doing or they're burnt out. Like so many different reasons, but like sometimes obviously experience helps, but sometimes it's not
Hmm.
everything.
No, no. Um, there's a we okay, so where I work, I go into different patients' homes or facilities and give like patient showers or baths, things like that. So there's one facility I tag team with one of my coworkers. He's a male and he has been a CNA for 30 years, like
Oh,
a
wow.
long time.
Hmm.
I applaud him for that because like
Yeah.
I'm a little over a year in and it's getting rough. So um he has a lot of experience, obviously, and he's a bigger guy. Like he's very strong, so it's very nice to be able to have him to help with transfers. But
Hmm.
I'm plenty capable of helping and assisting and doing transfers my own. Okay, so
Hmm.
the facility that we see patients at together, it's a secure memory unit, and the patients are so demented and their diseases have progressed so far that they're basically just dead weight. So, like, it's very difficult to transfer these patients. They require at least two people, sometimes three. It's very intense.
Hmm.
But, like, we have a system down together. We both know how we work, how we transfer. We both know, like, what the other is capable of. And, so we do all the transfers, just us two, but occasionally some of the facility staff will come in the room and like when we transfer, it's like him on under one arm, me on under the other. And um male staff will come in and say, "Oh honey, do you want me to do that?" Or like, "Honey, are you sure you have it?" I'm like, first off, don't call me honey please at work. That bugs the crap out of me. Unless you're a patient, then it's cute. But like, I'm like, no, I can do it. Like I know how to. And like one time, literally, like it was mid transfer and the patient started like squirming around, but we had her,
Hmm.
obviously, like it's not the first time that's happened. And this guy, the staff worker, literally comes in and like is like trying to scooch me out of the way and get
Oh,
under the arm, but like it's mid transfer. Like it was so unsafe.
yeah.
And after I was like, I have that right. Like we do this all the time.
Right.
And he was like, I just I didn't think you had it. Like he's so much stronger than you are. I was like, yeah, obviously. Like I don't think I'm that strong, but like I know what I can do. Like I do this all the
Right.
time.
Right. And the
So
thing is like we also cuz like I would have to transfer patients too, and when you're saying that, I'm like, "Yep, I've experienced
yeah,
that cuz people come in." But like we also know our own limitations. And so if we
exactly.
need to ask for help, we will ask for help because we
Hmm.
care about the patient and we're not
Hmm.
going to put the patient in danger. So like
Exactly. It's just like it's so frustrating. I'm like, trust me, if I need help, I'll ask. But it's not because like I'm weak. It's because I know the needs of my patients and I'm not
right.
going to endanger them.
Right.
So we have plenty of stories we could share about that. But like it happens all the time. That was just like one very specific one where like it literally put the patient in danger.
Mhm. Yeah. I think it's just interesting because right before we started recording,
Hmm.
we were talking about this. Like, it's a female nursing is a female dominated career. So why is because like neither of us are nurses, but like people are
A
still
lot of
disrespected.
Yeah, and like a lot of careers in healthcare are female dominated, like CNA, phlebotomy, most definitely, I would say.
Hmm.
I actually, with phlebotomy, it might be like 50-50,
Yeah, I met a lot of
but
male phlebotomists, but where
yeah,
I worked, it was all women.
all women, yeah.
So it's just like interesting that like even in like a female dominated workforce, there's still sexism against us, and it's like, so it's not like there's more men like, over us, like dominate. It's like patience. And so I think it's
Hmm.
like a cultural thing sometimes, and that needs to change, but it's just interesting. And so we wanted to kind of like highlight that at the end. Um, but we mostly just wanted to recognize um
Dr. Corbett,
Dr. Corbett.
the lovely lady herself. That is very cool. I'm glad we did like an extended feminist highlight because
Hmm.
there's so much to her, and like we could literally do like a series on her. Like we didn't even touch on her early life or like things that have happened since the development of the Moderna vaccine. Like
Hmm.
I bet there's just so much more to her than her career, but it's very cool to even discuss that.
Yeah. So, like we said, we're going to post the feminist highlight for her. We'll post it on Monday. And so, if you want to check out more about her, we're going to post links in the show notes
Hmm.
and just like some really cool resources and some interviews with her. She's gorgeous. And so, she really just does it all. And so, just check out those resources and check out our Insta at Real Talk About Feminism. And for any of you guys who are listening on Spotify or Podbean, Google Podcasts, um, our YouTube is Real Talk About Feminism podcast. So we've been really promoting it. This is our third episode on YouTube, but it's so fun to watch, and it's really fun. It just feels different now that we're
It does,
video.
yeah. It's really
So
cool.
yeah, definitely go watch that, and we will see you guys
You don't
next
even
week.
have to watch us diligently. Like just set it up while you're doing your makeup or like cooking dinner. That's what I do when I watch podcasts.
Yeah, I just have it on in the background because I mean you're mainly listening anyways, but like for certain little
Exactly.
things like when
Yeah.
me describing the stretcher movement, like I'm doing action. So
Yeah.
yeah, super fun.
Okay.
So tune in there. And yeah,
That
we'll
was
see you
it
guys
for
next week.
today. Come back next week with episode 18.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.